Hey guys, welcome back to Starcastic Remarks. My name is Ryan Chambers, and today we are joined by both Chris and James. And Chris, we are live, by the way. We just wanted to see how long it would take for you to get here. So Chris literally just got here, you guys. Literally, like within 2 seconds of the podcast starting. I just wanted to test him and see how quick he could get here. How you doing,
That's pretty
Chris?
impressive.
I know, right? It's like impeccable time. How you doing?
I had no idea what time it was.
Yeah, typical.
Oh man. Well, how is it? How is it going overall? Is it going okay?
It's going great. Classes started. It monsooned yesterday. That was fun.
Yeah.
Uh,
No joke.
yeah.
Well, and I was actually talking to some people at school today. Some of the other teachers, and they were saying that this is probably one of the wettest months that West Texas has seen, and like we've been getting rain like almost daily for the past week and a half, which is weird.
Y'all probably been getting more rain than over here in Dallas, even.
Yeah, it's been bizarre, like beyond
Plants
bizarre.
might start growing.
Yeah, seriously, yeah, like some actual green stuff. It might not just be brown out here in West Texas. So, okay, well, we are here live in this podcast. We got another podcast to talk about because some big news coming out of that. I guess not really news, just things to talk about because we need things to talk about during the off season. But we'll talk about
content.
Yeah, there you go. Not really if we're kind of talking about their content, right? If we name drop them here in the podcast, right?
No, don't name drop them.
Don't name drop them. Well, I'm gonna do it anyway because they deserve it. So, just a couple of NHL news going on, but we may talk about a couple of things here. But obviously, the big news today is Tom Gaglardi's interview on the Cam and Strick podcast, where he went on and just kind of talked about his background, his entrepreneurial stuff, if that's the right word. I can't even say the right word. How COVID affected his businesses, his mom, his dad, all that sort of stuff. And then he got into some really interesting things when it comes to Dallas Stars news. And obviously, he talked about Ken Hitchcock. He talks about coaching and stuff like that. He also mentioned and got into the biggest news, probably, I would say, arguably around the NHL right now because of just the names of these guys, and specifically Robertson. So, yes, I know we've been talking about them all summer. Please, can we just get them signed? But we got to mention it again. Did you guys get a chance to listen to any of the interview? And if you did, what part kind of stood out to you when it comes to that whole interview?
Yeah, I mean, the two obvious parts was the player side. He calls out Ben and Sagan yet again, which I'm sure we'll get into that and the reaction to it. And then also calls out both of the players we're trying to sign in Ottinger and Robertson for asking for too much, which that's kind of crazy in my opinion, but whatever.
Yeah, definitely it feels like that. Him calling out I think it was more specifically Robertson, honestly, from what it sounded like at least.
Yeah.
He didn't
Well,
he obviously he didn't name drop, but it's very obvious from the way he's talking. He's all but used his name.
Yeah, but because it's going to be Jake Ottinger that scores 40 goals, right?
Yeah. Honestly, just for initial reaction, let's start on that one, okay? Because it's ridiculous to talk about a player's contract while you're in negotiations with them on just some random podcast. That's honestly, that's not cool in my opinion. Like if I was in negotiations with y'all and you talked about how much of a greedy little 20-year-old I was for wanting to get paid for scoring the most goals on your team and making you the second best line in hockey, I'd be a little bit pissed off.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the main problem with that is that he didn't have to number drop the 40 goals and 7 million. He didn't have to drop either of those.
Yeah, there's no reason. You could talk about what he wanted to talk about without saying that.
Yeah, he said specifically the bridge deals, that second deal doesn't exist anymore. And that's all he had to say on it, but he went into specifics. And
yeah, Shut up.
Yeah, but still, at the same time, guys, I think there's a bit of an overreaction here. Would you agree with that at the very least?
I think there's an
Overreaction with sway.
Yeah, I'm saying there's an overreaction to the Ben and Sagan thing, specifically by Sturm on Twitter. But
oh yeah, and I took a snapshot of that. We'll get into that too a little bit.
Yeah, for the Robertson thing, I feel like it's an underreaction. Like, okay, it's not the way it used to be. Grow up, stuff changes. He's literally just whining about it and talking openly about contract negotiations with a player that you're in talks with right now, who's probably the best player on your team.
And to be fair, a little bit, he did say the industry is changing, but he's still whining about it the whole time while he's doing it. He's like, I know it's changed, but it's stupid, basically. He's just kind of being a big baby.
Yes. Well, I didn't really view it that way as much, and maybe being the more level-headed of the three of us, because I'm the older one and the all-knowing wise one.
That's it.
The only thing that I didn't like, and I will agree with you on this, is dropping the $7 million. Like, if that's what Robertson wants, I'm running to the table to get him to sign that contract. You freaking kidding me? Like, we were thinking like more, like especially if he's wanting to sign a long-term deal. We were thinking like maybe even north of $9 million possibly that he could get. But if he wants $7 million, dude, I'm running to the table and getting him to. I'll take his own dang hand and sign it for him.
Yeah,
but that's the only thing I didn't understand about that. But I think that the media especially kind of overhyped it a little bit too much, mostly because there's nothing else to talk about right now. But it's still worthy to note that both of those guys are still unsigned. But I don't know. What do y'all think? I'm still stupid about that, and that the media overblew it, or what do you think?
I think they overblew the wrong thing. I mean, they overblew Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin. Oh, he's talking bad about his top players again. Okay, yeah. That's not shocking because, I mean, yeah, they're playing bad. They know that they're not playing up to their level. That's not news, honestly.
But
he's
again,
just like stating
he said that months ago. He said that something similar to that months ago. It's like these guys underperformed and they know it. So I didn't
now. So it doesn't make any sense for people to overreact to it because it happened again. Yeah, right. Okay. They haven't played. They haven't had a chance to change it again.
Right, and I don't know. That's just the thing. It's like I honestly thought he was kind of like backing them up a little bit because they obviously both know that they're nowhere close to the money that they're earning right now or their cap hit, and especially the percentage of the cap hit they're getting. They know that, and I mean, Gaglardi was just stating the obvious, right?
Yeah, we can't talk about the Ben Sagan thing without talking about the Sturm tweets because. Do you want to get into some of them, Ryan? Because his points were kind of ridiculous in regards to what Gaglardi was actually talking about.
Well, I'm curious your thoughts. So you go ahead. Just jump on one, whatever you want to jump on.
The main tweet was he was talking about, Gaglardi's upset because they're not producing the same way that they were when we signed them. No, that's not what he was talking about. He was whining, like me and Jim saying, still not a great look, but he was whining because they were producing so much worse than they were before. So when he was saying when you have 25% of your cap with these two players and they're not producing, we're not going to win a lot of games. That's just a fact. Like that's not bashing Ben and Sagan. That's not saying, I regret signing these contracts. That's a fact. They have to play better for us to be a Stanley Cup contender. Teams that have a player signed for that much money, that player has to play at an elite level. And those two guys aren't right now. And we have two of them, which most teams have one. So that's just a fact. So there's no reason for him to overreact that way to it. And the main reason he said he was overreacting to it because it happened multiple times. Okay, it's still true. So you're not going to be upset at the first time when it's true, but at the third time, that's too much. Like I don't get it. And one more thing, he responded to a comment too in Twitter, and he was talking about how Stars Media isn't as on top of like player performance the way like a Toronto Maple Leafs are. So if
Okay, that boils my blood a little bit. I
And
gotta stick up for my boy Sod.
no, but that's true. As far as fans go, Stars fans are not as they don't get as animatedly upset at a player for not producing at the level that they should. And there are way more Stars fans that are just like, "Oh, you better cheer for the team no matter what," than there are Stars fans that are saying, "No, we want to win a Stanley Cup." And that's
Right.
true. That's
No, that's totally
true.
fair.
And it's true like and we have those fans with like the Cowboys. Like if Dak Prescott isn't playing good, Cowboys fans are going to let him know.
It's way. I think that comparison, like if you compare that to Austin Matthews in Toronto, I think Dak Prescott would get more pressure than, I mean, hands down, in my opinion. But
and Sturm's point with that was saying, "Oh no, Stars players get lots of pressure." No, they don't, and that's part of the benefit of playing in Dallas. But you also need to get some pressure added to you, in my opinion. So I don't think it's a bad thing that it's talked about openly because one, it's true. They're just saying the quiet part out loud, and two, we need more if we want to be a playoff or a Stanley Cup team. We still be a playoff team with them playing the way that they are, but if we want to be a Stanley Cup team, which we have young players, we have an old core, and we've just signed people. Like if they're playing good, we are a cup contender team, but we're not on that radar because 25% is producing 50% lower than it should be.
mm-hmm. Do you want me to read the tweet, Chris? Because I got the whole thing, the whole thread.
Please do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure, read the tweet.
So all right, so this is Bob Sturm, and I love Bob Sturm. He's a good reporter. He's a good guy, but I just don't agree with him on a lot of what he said on Twitter.
From the ticket, right?
Yes. And he used to be a lot more involved with Stars media, especially Stars content, many years ago, but it hasn't been as much as he did in the past. But okay, anyways, and this is quote from Twitter. Jamie and Tyler should absolutely respond loudly to this constant and absurd commentary from the guys who offered them their contracts. It is unprofessional and ridiculous and shows no sign of getting better. This is Bush League, and it is repeated. They deserve better. That's the first tweet. Second tweet on here. You want them to earn their contracts? ? They did. That's how they got them. They did not want to age or decline. It happens in sports all the time. The decline of the athlete is seldom voluntary. Such nonsense. Third tweet in the same thread. You resent them for taking your money? You thanked them. You gambled. That is what player contracts are. Like stock disclaimers, past performance is not an indicator of future performance. So bothersome.
And that whole thread is just a straw man argument because he said none of that. He didn't say he resented them. He didn't say that past performance should have predicted the future. He didn't say any of that. He's just straw manning him and making him seem stupid for the people who aren't going to go and listen to it.
Yeah. And honestly, with the way that I thought the question was asked on the podcast, they're like, okay, well, we got to talk about Ben and Sagan, right? Like, obviously, it's a negative connotation. Gaglardi knows where they're trying to go with this. He says, yes, they're not been good. And then he also has his little but statement, like not but statement, right? He says, right? Yeah. He says, Ben hasn't been good. He doesn't produce the same. But he's a great leader in the locker room, and he does a lot more for the organization than you know. And then he also goes with Sagan. Sagan needs to be producing more too, and I expect him to produce more. But he's also coming off an injury that would put a lot of players out of the league completely. So, like,
I mean, for example, look at Jack Eichel. For example, I mean, he had the big time surgery that no other major athlete has ever had before. And it's obviously affected him, especially last year. I mean, he was still, a very good player, but he was not the same Jack Eichel that, he was in his, first couple of years in the league. So
just from like the podcast side, how they asked that question, Gaglardi wanted to get the, hey, yeah, they're not doing great out of the way. And then he even gave them like cop outs when he said it for, hey, they do other stuff. And he's coming off this really, really bad injury. And
he in no way said that they're like not worth their contracts or that he regretted signing them. He didn't say that at all, and that's what Sturm said on Twitter, which is just wrong. And he just blew it out of proportion, that whole segment of the podcast. And anyone who listens to that will find no issue with that, and I think Ben and Sagan would find no issue with that. I have one more thing. Sorry, the only issue I have is why is Gaglardi on a podcast anyway talking about the team?
See,
as the owner, like, stay out of the way, honestly, is my opinion on it. Like, let the people who know hockey, and you just pay the salary cap to have the team win and reap the benefits of getting the tickets.
And for the most part, he really is, honestly.
First things first. First things first. He is definitely a hockey guy, and he knows what he's doing. He is definitely 100% a hockey guy. So I will say that, and I'm talking about Gaglardi here. He knows his stuff. But I agree with you to a point. He needs to trust his guys, and he even said that. If you listen to the beginning of the interview, he was talking specifically about all the properties that he's got and all the businesses. It's insane how many things he's got. But he's talking about, you got to give some guys autonomy. If you micromanage people, they're not going to grow, and then your business is not going to grow. From their growth themselves, I guess.
Yeah. And specifically, he did mention he really only talks to the GM mostly. That's who he talks to. That's how you're supposed to do it. That's what he said he does mostly. So,
yeah. But in a podcast like this does nothing but make your GM's job harder. That's the only thing it could do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
think just
if you're going to talk specifics about players, that only makes your GM's job harder.
Yeah.
He didn't get into real specifics, but he did. He
gave us the number that Robertson asked for.
Okay, my thing is that actually the number, or did he just pull a number out of his hat? Because that's possible that he could have just pulled it out of his hat.
Like a very specific number.
Two very specific numbers.
To what I was thinking of. So,
well, I guess he could have name dropped like $4 million, and then we would have been screaming like he's worth way more than $4 million or something like that. So it wouldn't have mattered what number he pulled out. It would have caused some controversy, in my opinion. But here was my thought about
a number.
Maybe, and that's exactly what I was saying. Is like that's the only thing I didn't like about the fact that he dropped the number, and I was just like, probably wasn't a good PR move, but it is what it is. Let me get into this because obviously the negotiations with Ottinger and Robertson are continuing, right? And then the other thing about this is that this podcast drops, was it today or yesterday? I can't remember. I didn't pay attention. Yesterday. A little bit of it leads me to believe that it's not a coincidence, if that makes any sense. And
they did it before ours so that we could do commentary on it.
But my thought is and he didn't go on, and Cam and Strick is still pretty big podcast. It's not the biggest, but it is definitely top 10 when it comes to hockey podcasts. It is definitely up there. But what he didn't do is he didn't go to national media or anything like that. So he found like a niche little market to kind of subtly put in a little bit of a pressure, and maybe that little bit of pressure is purposely being pushed towards the Robertson and probably specifically the Robertson camp to sign a contract and get it done and over with.
I think it's 100% trying to push something. I don't know if it's a right thing to do regardless, but
I think y'all are giving way too much credit. I think someone asked him to be on a podcast, and he's like, "Oh,
he's
sure,
just like, yeah, sure,"
and he's just talking out of his butt.
Right, but that's the whole fun in doing this is we get to speculate and just assume that that's not.
Let's hope he pulled out a random number.
Okay. Actually, Brooke is actually helping us out here. Brooke on YouTube is telling us that they recorded the interview on August 16th. So that was over 2 weeks ago.
It released yesterday.
So, well, so let's kind of take a nosedive into a different topic that they were talking about on that interview, which is the coaching decisions and some of the stuff that was a little bit enlightening to me. But what did you guys think about some of the highlights? I love that stuff. Yeah.
Just talking about how the whole game plan was to change the identity of the team. And yes, that's exactly what we want to do. We want to score more goals. He said that's why we hired this coach. That's what we're going to do. I liked everything he said about that.
I don't think he wants to change the identity of the team per se from a defensive structure more so, but they definitely need to get more offense. And I think that's why they went with DeBoer over anybody else. And
he said the structure of the team needed to change.
I think that was
he was
back
talking
when
about
in
that
reference to
when
Hitchcock. Yeah.
I don't think he was
that's what
talking
it
about
was.
that in the same sense. Although he did say specifically that like metrics looked really bad last season. They were trending in the wrong direction from where he wanted them to go, and that's why he did the coaching change. So,
yep. And we were literally just talking about this off air, but it seems Rick Bowness did not agree uh, with Gaglardi on the fact that it's the players that were the problem. He thought the players were the problem. They didn't have the right players to get him over the top. It seemed like
he did, not necessarily that they didn't have the right players, but that the players weren't playing good enough. Which like that kind of goes back to the coach and the coach's style too. So I mean,
And we talked about that all last season. Not all the players are going to have a bad season all at once, and it's just a coincidence. It's not your fault at all. No, that's not how that works.
I mean, it's just what I think I remember hearing on the podcast is that Bonus said he did the best with the players that he had, and for Bonus, maybe he did. Maybe that was the best that Bonus could do with those players in his style. Maybe that's the best he could do. In which case, we need a new coach, and that's what we did.
And I think one of the metrics they talked. Well, there was two specific stats that Mr. Gaglardi pulled out, and one of them was the fact that we dropped below top 10 and goals against. So that was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And I mean that's supposed to be Rick Bonus's mantra is defense, defense, defense. And then the other one was I think it was 31st in goals expected. 32nd
expected goals.
Okay, 32nd in goals expected.
Dead last.
And we made the playoffs with that number. Oh my god! Imagine if we had just been like league average. Like league average, we probably would have been so much better.
Yeah, we talked about all last season. What if Jamie Benn and Tyler Sagan were just bad? We'd be so good.
Yeah. Let me. I want to get into this too because I thought this was really interesting. But he said that with the way that kids are nowadays, and just attention span and stuff like that, I think he specifically talked about. He said yeah, I know. Yeah, this was a little strange, but I kind of understand it a little bit. He said it's really hard for coaches especially in the NHL to have a really, really long career as an NHL coach with the same team.
Yeah, with the same team.
And he said that like the lifespan of a head coach typically is about 3 to 4 years. That's about what he said. Do y'all kind of agree with that? What do y'all think about that? Because I thought that was interesting hearing that coming from an owner of the NHL.
Yeah. The way he worded it was really weird. He said the attention span of these young players, which like kind of implies that after 2 or 3 years of the same coach, they're just not listening anymore, which I don't think is true at all. But I don't know. The question that got him on that topic was they said like, what, you've had a lot of coaches in the past couple of years, and yeah, that's true.
We have. So
I don't think the attention span is the reason that the coaching changes happen so much. In the salary cap era, when players are signing long contracts, coaches aren't signing contracts. You can fire them whenever you want. So when something's wrong, the easiest thing to do in hockey is to fire the coach and get a new one. And recently, it's been proven to be helpful. So why wouldn't you do that as the first thing to go, honestly? I mean, that makes the most sense. I think that's the main reason why the coaching carousel has been going around so quickly. It's just the easiest thing to do.
Ryan, you're muted.
Ryan's muted. What an idiot. I was wondering.
Sorry, the cat was meowing at the door again, trying to keep it off of the thing.
Sure, the cat.
But anyway, what I was saying was it's apparent how obvious that is because a lot of coaches are losing their job, it seems like every year. It's like at least 5, but especially this year, I think it was like 9 or 10, right?
Something and then the new one that comes in is the savior.
Right, exactly.
Literally up in Vancouver, you having them chanting his name as their like war cry now.
But he Bruce Boudreau really was the savior for that team.
I don't think he was the reason why that team did so much better. That team needed a change of pace altogether. The firing kind of sunk it in more. I mean,
right?
That's
so
my
you're saying
point.
Any coach you could have put in there, and yes, they probably would have been better, but as good as Bruce
better,
Boudreau
not as good, but better. Any
better.
kind of
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay. That I can get.
Just shake it up.
Bruce Boudreau worked some magic up there in Vancouver with those guys. The way they were sucking it up beforehand.
We'll see if he can continue it.
Yeah. Well, I also want to talk about this a little bit because he did even go into this a little bit, talking about Ken Hitchcock with his second stint here. So Ken Hitchcock came here and he was only here for a year, and they said that the reason why they did it is to completely change and transform the identity of the team from the Lindy Ruff, go, really fun to watch, goal scoring 9-7 games like we saw back then. And to Hitchcock's credit, he did exactly that. Like, they were pretty low in the league in Lindy Ruff when it came to the goals against, and then they were 6th the very next year under Ken Hitchcock. But the thing that kind of surprised me a little bit was that he flat out came out and said that the media likes to put that I was the one that hired the coach and not, my guys, referring to Jim Nill, for example. Do you think that he's telling the truth a little bit, or he's just kind of blowing smoke there?
I mean, if I was the owner, I wouldn't want to hire the coach. I would just let my GM do it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird with that because he mentions how he had the interview with Bruce, and it sounds like he had a big pull at least in choosing Bruce as the coach as well. So I don't know how true that is or isn't, and I don't know. I don't feel like speculating on that.
Well, podcast 4, James. Gosh dang.
I know. So, but it's such an empty that specifically so empty because if he's involved like he is in the Bruce interviews and Bruce being hired, then it's he kind of did make the decision in a way. Maybe he's saying more. It's like it's not all on me. I didn't make that decision all by myself. Don't know.
Well,
what do you think, Ryan?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Bad question.
But yeah, no, bad question. It's my own bad question, but I still think he was the one that had the major hand in signing Hitchcock. I still think he had the major hand in that, and Jim Nill kind of just agreed with him. Went along with it. It was just like, fine, sure, why not?
And in the interview, he says he didn't have a big part of it in it. And then he goes and turns around and defends having him from 1 year and saying that it was still a really good decision. And I'm like, well, why do you feel the need to defend it if you didn't make any decision on it anyway? So
it's his team. It's his team,
I know, but it's so weird, man.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I actually wasn't planning on talking about this, you guys, but literally this article dropped on NHL.com literally in less than an hour ago. Yeah. And Jim Nill sat down with NHL.com and discussed multiple different things, including hiring DeBoer and Mira Heiskanen, Roope Hintz, all that sort of stuff. So let's just see some of the questions that were asked and see what Nill's answer was to it. And let's just, kind of go from there and get some dialogue going on that and see what we think. But so one of the questions that was asked on NHL.com was, what is it about DeBoer that makes him the right coach for Dallas? And this is Nill's response to it. A lot of different things. He's an experienced coach, and he's had a lot of success in the league. I've been fortunate. I saw him when I started. I was back in my Detroit days. He was in Plymouth coaching, and so I saw him develop as a coach. He's got a great demeanor for today's NHL coaches. It's a tough job and a real balancing act, and he has that great demeanor where he's going to be firm. But also understand you have to handle everyone differently. He has a good handle on that type of coaching. So I mean, what do you think about his response to that? Because one of the words that keeps jumping out to me is demeanor. For some reason, I don't know why.
I mean, part of that I'm sure comes from switching from Bonus to DeBoer. I mean, Bonus is literally like I don't know. From what you hear from players, he's so well liked. It seems like he doesn't have a bad bone in his body. So I don't know.
Nice pun.
My bad. Sorry. I apologize.
The main thing I think is like he knows how to deal with a lot of different players because we do have such a like big divide on this team between old players and young players, and we need the even younger players to start being in. I mean, we're thinking we're having at least one guy from those big three prospects starting for us. So he's got a lot of different people do. He's probably got 3 or 4 different generations of players on his team. So he's got a lot of different characters to deal with.
And you know, Neil even said it right here. It's a real balancing act, and they feel like DeBoer's the guy that can do that. So we'll see how DeBoer does. And I mean, that's definitely a really good answer that Neil had there. But okay, so this is in reference to what DeBoer said. DeBoer said Heiskanen could reach another gear. What gear is that? And everybody says
Norris.
Offensively. We think he has more to give offensively. We started really seeing it in the Stanley Cup playoffs against Calgary. In that overtime in Game 7, he had 3 or 4 chances to win it for us. He just went to another level, and that's kind of him. As he's given more, he even grabs and expects more. He's been in the league 4 seasons. That's insane to think about that now. He's more comfortable in the league, comfortable in his game, and we forget sometimes he's only 23 years of age. This is when usually players start to take the next step, and I think that's where he's at. What do you think?
I mean, definitely. And the change in system that we're going to see with the next season is going to be part of that too. He's going to be the spearhead probably on power play, on
he has to be.
Most of
just about everything.
Even coming in late, getting back to Miro to take a wrist shot. I mean, I think he's going to be the one that's leading the mindset change. He's got to be the one that buys in the most.
I feel like the big problem with that is, though, there's going to have to be someone else covering him defensively. I mean, Miro's used to being the person who is the person back covering his defenseman, because he's had to be that, because he's had these other defensemen that he's played with who are kind of a bit more aggressive and go up a little bit more than he does. And if we can kind of flip the script on what he normally does with what we want him to do, maybe he will get that offensive push like we're hoping he does.
And honestly, there might be a little bit he needs to care a little bit less about that, because in today's NHL, games are ending 5-3, 6-4. That's not uncommon, really. So if you need to abandon your post to score a goal, we're probably going to be okay with that. And I think that's what's going to happen with the start of this new system with DeBoer.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that Miro Heiskanen takes the next step, because that's the one thing about this team is they can be a Stanley Cup contending team, but there's just too many questions, and Miro Heiskanen is one of them. Can he take that next step? Can he be as good as Cale Makar? So, everything tells me that he can. Everything tells me that he can.
Yeah, and there's so many different players that we feel like if just like 2 or 3 of them took just one more step up, we're not like asking for someone to go from like 10 goals to like 40 or 50. We're asking like 10 to 20. One step up, one more up is like all we feel like we need to just push this team a little bit further and have a really good chance at having a deep playoff run.
And I think that is, like, if I was to pick like a team to be the dark horse team of the season, it's going to be the Stars. I mean, because like we said, they have the most questions, and if a lot of those questions go the right way, we're going to be pretty good. Is Ottinger really an elite goaltender? If yes, that's a great jump. Can Pavelski keep doing it? That's a big jump. Ben and Sagan, can they start producing more? If they can, that's a big jump. Miro, can he be a Norris contender? If he can, that's a huge jump. So, and if all those things click somehow, we're the best team in the league, just like that, and we didn't add anything. So,
other than Mason
Marchment, all those things are really possible. Yeah, I didn't talk about Marchment.
There's just like there's a crazy amount of potential on this team. And unfortunately, we've been talking about this for years, so it kind of hurts to say it sometimes. But like, there really is. There's so much potential on this team to just be that much better.
Yeah,
and a lot of people attributed the, I guess you could call it the hurt on the potential of the young players because of coaching. A lot, and now we've got a new coach who seems to thrive with the young guys. It seems like he's had some successes, like with Kevin LeBanc over in San Jose. He's been a pretty good player for San Jose. So we'll see how that comes up with all this. But
I'll say let's throw some on Nil too, because he's kept some players in the AHL for quite some time. I mean, we can't forget about how terrible he botched Jack Campbell. I mean, that's unbelievable. Yeah. So,
well, perfect segue into the next question. Ottinger unexpectedly played 48 games last season. I wouldn't say that's unexpected, but that's just what this
was.
Well, he wasn't supposed
to.
I expected him to take it, and he did.
No, you didn't.
If we didn't get 2 hurt goalies, that wouldn't have happened.
The preseason show.
How ready is he? Oh, shut up, Chris. How ready is he to take the reins from the start this season? And here's Nil's response here. Last year was a great season for him growing wise. We sent him down early. Our biggest concern was he played the prior season during this taxi squad bubble year. I'm not even looking at the screen. I can see Chris doing this back and forth with his head, mocking Nil. And didn't get a lot of practice time, and didn't get a lot of reps, and didn't get in a lot of games in. He only got in 29. We were really concerned about development. We thought it was important for him to get to the American League, get games in, and he did a great job. Everyone wants to be in the NHL, but he understood that maybe this was the best thing for himself, and he took advantage of that. Then we got some injuries, and he never left. He did a great job for us, helped us get into the playoffs, and you saw what he did in the playoffs. 181 GAA, 954 save percentage. He's a big part of our future as we move forward. And Chris is like...
That's a lie. He went to the AHL and sucked. He was bad in the AHL. Go look at his numbers. I'm pretty sure he's below 900.
His first couple of games were not good.
I mean, that's a lie. My gosh. He thinks he's so smart. He thinks he's so smart. It's like, he really took advantage of that situation and just...
He does get paid. He does get paid millions of dollars to be...
Ridiculous. Shut up. You were wrong. And he proved you wrong. And he made you look like an idiot. Don't take credit for it now, moron.
We just had to get all of our goalies hurt.
Yes.
Literally. You signed 3 goalies ahead of him because you didn't trust him enough. Don't act like you knew exactly what was going to happen. Ridiculous.
Yep.
That pisses me off.
Sam's helping us out here with his save percentage. Sam,
shut up, Sam.
He had a better
Sam.
He had a better save percentage in the NHL by the end of the year. So only 1 point better, but still.
Still, yeah. Who was it? All right. Anyway, for those of you that were listening on the podcast side later, Sam said he was a 913 in the minors. So that's more of a idea of how a goalie did rather than goals against average. You can't.
That's
really
better than I gave it credit for.
Average.
That's better than I gave it credit for.
Yes, he had he did fine.
This was not all part of Nil's grand plan, and I'll just wait for these 3 goalies to get hurt, and then I just know Ottinger's going to come up. That's not how it happened, and that's how he started.
Oh, man. It has just been a goalie carousel, and it's like you got an option in a young Ottinger who seems to be ready to take it, and they would go out and get extra goalies, and I just...
it seemed like this year every team needed that anyway, so lucked out a little bit.
I mean, we still have 3 goalies. I mean, we still have
we still have Dobby.
Dobby, yeah, he still exists. We have 3 NHL goalies right now. This is crazy.
All right, let's get into Ben and Sagan with a question here. Ben and Sagan's numbers dipped last season, 46 for Ben and 49 for Sagan. What do you need from them this season? Nil's response, well, it's no secret, and it's what they want also. They know they have more to give on the offensive side, excuse me. Jamie brings so many other elements to the game also that's sometimes forgotten. He's a physical presence, he's the leader of the team, and there's a value to that. With Tyler, we sometimes forget about the injuries he's gone through. We've talked about these condensed seasons over the last 3 seasons and really no downtime to heal. And the injuries he's gone through, hip surgeries and knee surgeries, a lot of times those take a year just to get rest. Oh my goodness, a year of just rest to get through. He wasn't able to do that. From talking to him this summer, he feels great. I think he's determined to come back and show that he's still one of the elite scorers, and Jamie's in the same boat. If we get those guys contributing the way we think they can, keywords there, it just adds so much more to our team and puts us to the next level. Comments, thoughts on that?
That's exactly what we're saying. If those guys can produce a little bit more, we're up from bubble playoff team to solidly in the playoffs.
Yeah, and honestly, like if there was any player to have like an unexpected, like really good season, I would put Tyler Seguin easily in that.
Well, I wouldn't even say it's unexpected. I think he's due for one after.
I mean,
he's had
like
a full season to get back into it. Like he's definitely gonna play better next year than he did.
He's gonna play better, yes, but like I mean, like he's gonna play like a crazy amount better. Like if there was anyone that you would just score, yeah, if there was anyone that you would just see like randomly jump really high like that, I feel like it would be Seguin with this year.
Maybe. I feel like those surgeries still that takes something out of your legs.
Yeah, I mean he played pretty much the full season last year. That's and he had the full season before off trying to recover from it. So I mean, if you're looking at a year for him to come back strong, it's this upcoming year.
And boy, do we need it.
Yeah. So again, I forget what I've asked you guys, but what's the expectation from these guys for you at the very like bottom level of what you expect from them? Let's talk about points and goals wise. What's their floor?
Well, the floor is the same as last year, honestly, in my opinion. 46 points for Ben, I don't think is that terrible for the style of play he has and for how old he is now. As long as he continues being that leader like we're talking about, maybe he needs to make his presence known a little bit more physically, even in bigger games, because we did talk about that a lot, how sometimes he seemed just non-existent. For Seguin, there's really no telling how much he's gotten better from his injury. I mean, like if he can't skate still, it's going to be tough for you to score that many points. I mean,
yeah. I mean, honestly, for me, like there was points in that Calgary series where I'm looking at Seguin and he's coming down one of the sides like he used to, and it looks like he's almost there, back to where he like it felt like he was just gonna snipe it and put it in the corner of the net again. And really, I really feel like Seguin. I want him to have at least 80 points on the season, honestly.
I know that's like thinking that's a little bit too optimistic. I
know it's optimistic, but like I really feel like Sagan's a lot closer than we're thinking.
I would have to disagree, but
well, the one
I will
sentence I want to pull out of this again is I think he's determined. He referring to Seguin. He's determined to come back and show that he's still one of the elite scorers, and Jamie's in the same boat. So they think that apparently that they can get back to that elite status that they were when, Jamie Benn was winning the Art Ross and Tyler Seguin was right next to him scoring 30 goals per season and that sort of thing. So, I mean, if that happens and, Seguin becomes the first line, Seguin and Benn become the first line again with like Wyatt Johnson on the right side or Logan Staycoven on the right side, boy, that would be so much fun. It gets me excited just thinking about that. Then we've got 2 first lines, and we're in really good shape.
That is probably the biggest if I've ever seen in my life.
Right? No, I totally agree with you, 100%.
That is not a likely thing.
So let's get into some goaltender topic. 2 questions, and then we'll start to wrap it up, and then we need to start thinking about a Who Cares segment because we already have that ready to go. Goalie Anton Hudobin had a right hip arthroscopy and labral repair. That sounds very painful. In March, how is he doing? Dobby's doing well. He's been back here for several weeks. We brought him back early so that he can continue his rehab, and we've seen videos of him on social media. He's feeling well, and we'll know as we get closer to camp where he's at. We're anticipating he's going to be ready to camp, be ready for camp, I think is what they meant to say. But we'll have to wait and see. So, I mean, at this point with Dobby, it kind of sucks because I still think he can play. I do. Just not at the same level that he obviously was in the 2020 bubble run. But I just don't know what he can do. And let's just assume that Ottinger doesn't get signed to start the season. And we go in with Wedgwood as the starter. That's scary.
That's not going to happen.
I agree.
No.
No. But yeah, I don't think Dobby's a big issue right now. The contract looks really bad now. And we thought it was going to be bad when we signed it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not the backup even. Even if he is full strength, I don't think he's going to be the backup. I think it's still Wedgwood. I don't think it's really I don't think this is an issue. It's nice to have a good third goalie, but not an issue in my opinion. One more thing on the goalies, since you just brought up a non-topic, I'll bring up a real topic. On NHL Network, Otter said this. He said, "I'm very certain that both of us, the Stars and Ottinger's camp, will get the job done before training camp so we can get the season going," in reference to him getting signed. "At the end of the day, I know both of us want to be in Dallas for a long time. It's not something I'm too worried about," is what he said. So that's at least some good news amidst all the craziness. But yeah. So hopefully I feel like we're closer with Ottinger. I just feel like he's not signed because Robertson's not signed. I think that's the bigger issue. But it does need to just do it. Just get it done.
Please just get it done.
Yeah. I'm just tired. I'm tired of talking about it. It doesn't need to be an issue. I don't want any. I feel like we're just waiting around for an offer sheet. That sounds terrible.
I still don't think that's going to happen.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's fine. Nothing's going to happen. They're just going to sign. And it's going to be okay. But right now it's not, and I don't like that.
Well, and you know what? I don't think it's a coincidence that Jay Gottinger went on NHL Tonight and talked about that after the interview that Tom Gaglardi did on the Cam and Strick podcast to kind of quell things down. Again, I'm reading too much into things, but I don't think that's a coincidence.
For the reason we just like the spotlight. We just want to eat it up. Those Stars, big market team, always in the news and everything.
Yeah. Well, there were a lot of people that, especially today, before Ottinger came out and said what he said, were saying, "Oh, well, we're all freaking out about, oh, they're not going to get signed," and then Otter's like, "Dude, shut up. We'll be fine. We're both going to be signed by." That's pretty much what he was. He was putting water on the fire, is what he was doing. Yeah. So, all right.
Which is weird that the players are doing that instead of the management and the owner.
Yeah,
it's adding the fuel.
Yeah. Chris, you just opened a conspiracy theory.
Whatever. Moving on.
Okay. I actually have one other thing, and then we'll get into who cares. And it's real quick, but the reverse retro, I expected it to already be released by this point, but it has not been released yet, and that's why I'm wearing my reverse retro from last year. I've seen some mock-ups of what some people think it's going to look like, and at first I was kind of like, I didn't really like it, to be totally honest with you. And I mean, I don't know. Did y'all see I forgot who posted it. I think it was on the Jay Cottinger fan club and Hockey Talk group. Did y'all see the?
No.
Maybe I can find it real quick, but everybody on the comments was just like, "Oh, this is a fantastic jersey," and I was just like, "Man."
Well, Ryan likes the old reverse retro, so he's a little bit crazy anyway. But I did see a leak from NHL Shop it was just like a shirt, and it had the old secondary logo from the Shooting Star jerseys. So I don't know if that was supposed to be like the main logo of the reverse retro, which would be weird. Because I don't love that. But
Right.
if that's just a callback to the shooting star look, I don't know. It was just it was a weird secondary merch item that somehow got shown on the website and then was removed after 30 minutes. So I don't know. It was weird.
Right. We'll have to come on and do another episode when all the 32 jerseys are released and rank them like we did with that first group of reverse retros. Because
That'll be fun.
yeah, it was fun. Like that, like the Los Angeles Kings jersey was fantastic. I loved it.
That is one thing. Some people are even mad about these reverse retros. They're like, oh, this is just a money grab. No, this is fun. This is awesome. It's
Come on,
so
we had COVID for 2 years, guys, and it's still sort of kind of going on. Come on, let us have fun.
No, it's just fun. Shut up. All right.
They can take my money. I'm okay with it.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. Right. I'm going to buy the jersey no matter what.
I want to give them money. Let me give them money. All right. What's the Who Cares segment, Ryan?
I don't know. Do we want to go with a jersey one?
No.
What do we think?
Here, we'll do one that nobody can relate to. All right.
Wait. Hold on. Why don't we ask the comment section?
No. Chris just thought of one already.
I already thought.
Okay, fine.
You got him all excited.
Everybody's gonna hate you now.
I'm already
in
excited.
the comment section because I said
everyone can pretty much sign off. We're gonna do your top 3 disc golf molds. Top 3 disc golf discs.
I don't even.
1 second. Let me turn around real quick.
All right.
On my bag right here.
I'll do that too. Hold on.
Okay, well, y'all keep talking. I'll go grab mine for a second while the internet sits here.
We have to talk?
Yes, y'all talk about it real quick, and then I'll go get my bag because my bag's in the room.
But Chris left too. You're gonna leave me here too?
Okay, fine. I'll wait till he.
I'm gonna be here all alone.
Yes,
I'm gonna be terrified.
Okay, so just so everybody knows, we're a very big disc golf family. We work together. We like to go out and just go try out courses, and we're willing to drive over an hour to go try out a course. So
no, I drove an hour and a half just the other day to go play
a course.
Right. So, okay.
No, that course is so worth it, man.
All right. So Chris, why don't you go ahead with your number 3, and I'll be right back, and I'll go grab my discs.
My number 3. I'm just saying the mold in general instead of the specific disc, but I guess we'll do specific discs since we have specifics. Yeah. This is the Judge. This is a putter in disc golf. This is the first disc that I ever bought. So I had some discs from older brother Zach that y'all have seen on podcasts from time to time, but this is the first one that I bought just me. This is a really flexible disc, and it's really like seasoned. So when you use a disc a lot, they start flying a certain specific way. You know exactly how they fly. So that's what this disc is for me. I love it. Lots of sentimental value. Use it for jump putts, turnover throws. I love it. It's great. It's all like warped and everything because I've had it for so long, like 3 years. And it's great. I love it.
All right.
A classic soft Judge. James, right. Number 3.
My number 3 is also the first one that I got to pick out. It is this weird looking
that stupid
mid-range.
Little,
yes. It's got like this huge dip in the rim, which like you don't find on any other discs.
Hold it up to the camera, James. I want to see it. See if you can get it on camera.
See it really well, but
give us the profile. Yeah, on the edge there.
Yeah. So like this is the rim of the disc, right? That's the rim. There's a second rim underneath the rim. There's 2 rims, essentially.
Double rim.
Yeah. So this is the first disc that I picked up, and I just felt, and I was like, oh, I really like that disc, and then all my brothers proceeded to look at me like I was absolutely insane because it is the weirdest. Because it is the weirdest. It's the weirdest disc you will ever find, but it's a mid range, so it only goes like, you throw it like a little bit, but it's I just liked it. Got a lot of. Just like Christian's, it's got sentimental value because it's the first one I kind of picked out, and it's also really weird, so no one else is ever going to have them. I have 2 of them. That's how much I like that disc.
Good choice, James, even though it's a terrible disc. Ryan, number 3.
Number 3 for me, I'm actually can I do 2 for number 3? Because it's
you can have 1 honorable mention and 1 number 3.
Okay, honorable mention. Honorable mention is my Thunderbird. It's a pretty one. I like the way it flies. It
Good
and
choice.
for me, I throw everything hyzer. It's really bad. So it's a good disc that actually flies straight for me. So, but number 3, I'll actually have to go with my Star TL3. This is like one of the first ones that I
Yeah.
actually ever bought. So again, some sort of sentimental value when it comes to this disc. But
How did we all end up on
it's I used to have a blue one. It was like a kind of like a, what do you call it? Like a glossy blue one. It was really nice, but now I just got this boring white one. But it still flies well. So
No, the white one's cool. I like the white one. Speaking of white ones, my number 2 is
that?
this
It's
one
a
I
white
dyed.
one.
Look how cool this is. I did this myself. I'm so smart. Look at that. It's got the for all you listeners, got the Lone Star A&M logo. I love it. It looks so cool. But this is a mid-range like James's. It is the Classic Soft Justice. Kind of new for me, but this is a very overstable approach disc for all you non-disc golfing people. This is like my sand wedge. So when I want to get it close to the basket, I'm chipping this guy up there. And since it's a soft, flexible plastic, it hits the ground and just sticks. It doesn't skip away or roll away or anything. I just throw it. It sticks there. It's super stable. Wind won't blow it around or anything. I always know right where it's going. Classic Soft Justice. It has changed my game. Thank you, Classic Soft Justice. And cool stamp.
All right.
James,
My number 2 is Firebird. Specifically with this plastic. This plastic is really weird, and when you throw the disc, it never skips. So it hits the ground and it just kind of slides and stops.
Yeah.
So
that plastic is similar to the plastic that I just showed. So it's G-Star. It's flexible. Show them the flexible, James. Show them the flexible. Look how flexible.
Oh wow, that actually is really flexible compared to.
So when it hits the ground, it just digs in.
Wow.
It's also got a pretty rainbow stamp on it, and it's nice. And I throw this literally every way imaginable. So I use this disc for everything.
Good choice, James. That's my favorite disc of mine that you own, in my opinion. All right, Ryan, number 2.
All right, so this one used to be my number 1 until Zach suggested my number 1 that will be number 1. So my number 2 is my Lucid Red Getaway, and I love getaways. And Chris, I blame you for it because you love getaways and you kind of got me onto it. I now currently have 3. I have this red one, which is my favorite. I also have a green Lucid X one, which is really cool. I love that one. And then I just have a regular kind of boring old white one. So I've got 3 different ones that I really like. But this red one is my favorite one that I like to throw. And no particular reason. I just think it flies well for me.
What an amazing choice. And boy, wouldn't you know?
No way.
Is the getaway.
And that's the one I gave you.
Is the one that Ryan gave me. And this specific disc has become my favorite disc in my bag. It has, so Ryan, since you gave it to me, it has been thrown a lot more. Yes. And it has been seasoned a lot. It goes pretty much dead straight, but I can make this do anything I want. I throw this on hyzer. We call that this angle for all you people on the YouTubes. And it'll go way left. I throw it anhyzer, it'll go way right. I can shape it. I can bend it. I threw this on a 420-foot hole through a tunnel of trees, so many trees, and I parked it for an eagle. This disc is crazy. It goes just as far as my distance drivers, but on a dead straight line. It is so cool. If I ever lose this disc, I may cry. That's why I have a backup that flies the exact same way.
And the thing that you were all hacked off about is when we were at the where was it, Replay Sports?
No, we were at Dynamic Disc Carrollton.
Dynamic Disc in Carrollton, and I found that one. Yeah.
Used. So this is a super specific mold that was made, I think 2019. Let me see. Yeah,
you told me 2019.
2019 disc. Only one of these runs was ever made. So there's only one of these discs that feels exactly like this and flies exactly like this. And Ryan and Zach both walked into the store before me and both grabbed 2 of these off the used section, and I didn't get them. And I couldn't. I was looking for one for like 3 months, and they just bought them for $10, and I was so upset. And then Ryan gave this to me because I begged him, berated him, and gave him another disc that he threw very well.
And I knew you would use it more than I would. So.
And now it's my favorite disc. So thank you, Ryan. I appreciate you.
All right.
James, number 1 frisbee in your bag.
My number one frisbee that I love, that I use for everything, that I've almost aced twice, almost, is a Verdict. It's also a mid-range. I freaking love mid-ranges. This disc does everything for me. I don't even use putters anymore. So
You
I
put with the
just
Verdict.
I
Doesn't
putt the
use
Verdict.
judges.
I
no.
don't use putters anymore. It works better than my putters. I think I like it because it has all the mid ranges have like this rim that you can kind of feel better than a lot more. I think I like it because it has that rim, but I use it for putting. I throw it from I almost got like a 200-foot ace the other day. It's awesome. I love this
Very
disc.
good disc. I'm going to interject real quick in the comment section. Some people are interested. This is crazy. I love this. These discs only cost, like I said, that blue one, Riot, that's my favorite disc in my bag. That one cost $10.
Well, it was used.
It was
It
used.
was
But it
used.
cost $10. Brand new ones, $18. So easy, so cheap. And you know how much tee times cost? They're free. You go to any course,
Most.
any park, it's free. You just go play it whenever you want. It's great. You should all try disc golf. It's so easy, so fun. Try it.
And you don't even have to be good at it to have fun. You don't have to be good at it to have fun.
Yeah, we're all different skill levels, even in our family. So I am playing collegiate disc golf right now and trying to qualify for national championships.
D1 athlete over here.
And Ryan plays 2 times a month. And we still have fun playing.
If that.
If that right now, especially the marching band.
Yeah. So y'all should definitely play disc golf. It is so much fun. All right, Ryan, grand finale, number one disc.
Grand finale, number one.
What does Zach give you?
Zach actually put me onto this, and I tried his out, and this was back. Oh goodness, I think it was last December actually. So almost I guess not quite a full year ago, but about 9 months ago, and it's my understable Maverick. And I love Maverick so much, and because of how I wouldn't say I'm fully trained, and especially my backhand is not very good right now, and it's never been great. I'm still working on it, but I can throw this crazy hard and it will fly straight for me, and that's saying something considering how bad I throw with my backhand. So and it happens every time. Okay, not every time. 9 times out of 10, this thing goes straight for me. So if I need a disc that, and what's funny is it's understable and it flies straight for me, but whatever. I love this disc so much, and I can actually, with this disc, get pretty far for me at least. So, Maverick number one, I love it. Thank you, Zach. Shout out to Zach. And you know what? We should also shout out what is it? Circle's Edge and Terrell, where we go every once in a while. It's a great place to play disc golf.
It's actually renamed to the Hideaway now.
Oh, it's the Hideaway? Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot that
the grill and the course are both called the same thing now. They have a little grill there that cooks burgers. It's pretty good.
Yeah, but y'all go play disc golf. It is super cheap compared to real golf. You can do it by yourself. You can do it with buddies. You can just show up and start talking to people. That's great. You go to any park and it's free. Just look up disc golf. It'll pull up. You can get discs you can get them at Academy. You can get them at Replay Sports. There's even its own dedicated shop right outside of Dallas in Carrollton called Dynamic Disc Carrollton. Please sponsor me. And they can disc too.
We're gonna have to tag Dynamic Discs in this and see if they
tag Dynamic Disc Carrollton sponsor. I'll wear a Dynamic Disc shirt every podcast. Promise.
All right, guys. All right. We got anything else to say before we wrap it up? No, I think we're good.
Oh, no, I got one more thing. Haynes King is the starter and is playing Sam Houston State. They don't stand a chance. We got an 11 a.m. game. Boy, we're gonna be eating breakfast burritos and drinking mimosas right in Kyle Field, and it's gonna be great. Y'all tune in to whatever channel it's on because it's not national televised because we're playing Sam Houston State. Sorry, Bearcats.
Yep. I hate Bearcats more than I do TU because that was my big rival in college against when I went to SFA. So screw the Bearcats.
Take me out behind the field goal posts.
And I guess I'll go ahead and say a shout out to this because shout out to one of my former students, Angelina, who will be marching in her first game there in the Texas Aggie band. So I'm really excited to watch her. Hopefully I can find a recording of it somewhere, but we'll see. But
bro, I'll record it and send it to you.
Do it. I'd love to see it. So I'm gonna try and go see her sometime And I don't know when you guys have home games. I haven't even looked at the schedule, but I'm gonna
Or I'll have tickets
somehow
Saturday.
I'm gonna find a way to come down. Yeah, we'll see. Okay. Anyways, we'll talk more off here. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for listening. Once again, we appreciate all the support that you guys give us, and we also want to shout out our sponsors, Raycon and DraftKings, for allowing us to do stuff like this, live episodes every week. We really can't do this without them. It allows us to do this stuff for free and also get a little bit of extra on the side. But please go and follow us on social media. You can see our tags there at the bottom of the video. I'm R Chambers 1993. Chris is Chris Cham 2B. James is James the Bomb 02. I can't believe I got that right. And also follow us, all of our podcast social media platforms as well. Like us, subscribe to YouTube. Go check out sarcasticmerch.com. Yep. We still got that merch stuff going on as well. And we will catch you guys on the flip side. We hope you guys have a good afternoon, evening, whenever you're listening to this. Have a very good